Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 366 Days of Hope. My name is Pearl, and I'm here to share our next topic, which is obeying now so you don't have to learn it the hard way later. So one of the big things I was sharing with a few of my friends was about how to be in God's will when you are finding a spouse. And one of the things that me and my husband had talked about was we acknowledged that we were not the right people to be with early on after we had already got married and everything. We knew that we weren't the right ones for each other. However, we acknowledged it and we had said and committed, because we both believed in God, that, even despite the fact that we knew we may not have been the right choice for each other, we made a committed decision to stick it out together and do the best to be the best version for each other and to grow and to learn. And it was definitely hard. We recognized early on that there were things about our character that, may not have fit, but we both genuinely loved each other for who the other person was and was willing to work very hard to help each other. And one of the things my husband would say to me is, it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. And I truly believe that to be with even in our marriages. I believe that God has the perfect individual for you if you follow his will, but God also acknowledges that we are free agents, and he is willing to give us permissive will, where he will allow us to do what we decide to do and respect what we decide to do. He's not going to force us but he is going to end up allowing us to feel the consequences of our decisions. And I will have to say, marriage is probably the most important decision you are ever going to make, aside from maybe your career choice. But even still, you can change your career choice. But marriage, I think, is one that will drastically affect the trajectory of where your life goes based on who you're married to and the type of life that you're wanting to have based on who you were married to. And so I feel like when you find the person that you want to spend your forever with, identify whether it's God's will, whether you are doing everything you can to live in accordance to his will. In Psalms 143, verse 10, it says, "Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. Let your good spirit lead me on level ground." And I truly believe that this can apply to our marriages as well when we ask God to give us his will. Because in not properly choosing and making the right choice, both me and my husband had to struggle in our relationship because we had so many differences. And yet, we both were willing to work on those differences despite the fact that we recognize that originally maybe we were not whom God intended us to be with. But it doesn't mean that just because we made the wrong choice that gives us license to nullify our commitment that we made before God. Instead, we made that choice and we believed our vows were serious enough that they transformed the way we would treat each other. And so I think that is really important, and both he and I have acknowledged this, and we both feel that this is something that the younger generation need to be able to acknowledge as well, because it affects your mental health. It affects everything when you don't have the alignments together. But I think you also need to have the commitment to each other. So our relationship has worked because we communicate, because we do talk about the things that are difficult. We do discuss hard topics, and sometimes they don't always go as well as we'd like, but we have to be willing to step back and realize that what are our intentions? What is the goal of our conversations with each other? And the truth is, we both are very altruistic. We want the best for the other person. And I think because we have that attitude, right, esteem others above ourselves, that generally tends to work in our favor of working out our relationship. So I hope that encourages you to think about, maybe you're in a relationship right now where you're just like, man, like, I don't know if I made the right choice. Well, one, don't think of that, and think positively instead and say, you know what? Even if maybe in the beginning we may not have made the right choice to be together, we can change the trajectory of our future by doing different things to help our marriage grow. And so you can think about what those things will be and look like. So for example, maybe you guys might not have the same vision. Why don't you guys sit down and talk about what your visions are together? And maybe that's going to end up helping both of you see how the other person, sees, what the future kind of looks like, and how can you both bridge and meet in the middle. If you have, maybe there's trauma related things going on, well, maybe one person can go to therapy and then share what they're learning. There are different ways in which you can end up supporting each other in each other's growth. So I think that for us has worked very well and has really blessed us, because neither of us are willing to give up on the marriage. And I think that's the big key point to it, is that you don't give up and that you keep pressing forward and we keep trying to grow in these areas. And again, it's part of our mental health as a couple, because we want a house to be of peace. We don't want it to be a war room where you're constantly having to feel like you're needing to defend or fight each other all the time, and a wall needs to be, put up to protect yourself from whatever is being thrown at you. Like, that's not the environment that not either of us want. So that's another thing. You both have to sit down and talk and say, hey, listen, I don't want to be fighting. What can we do to move forward so we're not creating this atmosphere? And I think having an honest, open dialogue with each other honestly has worked for us. But I also think that some couples need to go through counseling to help get a third person's perspective as to what is happening and what's going on. So with that said, may you live, thrive, and be healthy. Take care, guys. Bye.